Well, yeah, this is really awesome. Thank you everyone for coming out on a Sunday. And I want to thank, just first off, the university, friends, and our interpreters for making this event as accessible, helping us make this event as accessible as possible. My name is Andrej Markovčič. I am the chair of Seattle DSA, one of the co-sponsors for the event, along with SA and ISO. Basically, this event is a response to this huge growth in socialist interest in socialism and socialist politics that we've seen recently. DSA, as well as our comrades at SA and ISO, have seen a huge surge in new people coming in who have never been affiliated with any socialist organizations before. And part of that is just the obvious failure of kind of liberal capitalism to check reactionary capitalism, and people realizing that we need an actual anti-capitalist politics. And they're finding socialism. So, I feel that one of the, for whatever was or was not won with the Bernie Sanders campaign, the single biggest victory for the left was this kind of reintroduction of an imagination of what was possible. People thinking about what kind of politics they were allowed to talk about and seeking out new ideas where the left had previously been closed off. And what we want to do is take this opportunity to get the left out of what has been kind of a cloistered, insular community and reach out to new people, start spreading these ideas to people that haven't been involved with them before. And to that end, we have a slate of amazing speakers who are really working to talk to us about kind of what is the path forward, how do we practically resist, and how do we build a more equitable politics and a better world. So I just want to thank also, just SA, ISO, YDS, socialist students who all put in a lot of work to put this together. And just once again, I'm really excited to hear what everybody has to say and for everyone to engage and talk about socialism.
Yeah, my name is Ty Moore. I'm an organizer with Socialist Alternative, and along with Andrej, co-chairing this first panel today. And I just also wanted to give a little bit of the political context for this conference taking place in this time. I mean, we are discussing today strategy to defeat and fight back against Trump here in Seattle, as well as a strategy to build the socialist movement. But this is taking place against the backdrop of really earth-shaking events. Trump's ascendancy to the White House is not only creating a crisis for working class people, for oppressed people here in this country and around the world, but it's actually also creating a crisis, or deepening rather, the crisis facing the entire global capitalist system. In some ways, it's both a symptom of that crisis, of a tremendous outrage from below that is expressing itself both in growth of left-wing ideas, but also, ominously, the growth of right-wing populist ideas. And at the same time, as it's an expression of that crisis, it's also deepening that crisis. Trump is not the traditional sort of business-as-usual capitalist politician. He represents a much more rapacious, short-sighted wing of the billionaire class, as well as a right-wing, hard ideological trend that is looking to assert itself in this era of growing popular discontent at the system. And around the globe, we're seeing similar trends. We've seen confidence in the capitalist system as a whole, as well as the key institutions on political parties representing the capitalist system collapsing. And as we say in Socialist Alternative, in many ways, the best recruiter to the socialist movement is the capitalist system itself, is the results that it brings about in this world. which is exciting but also kind of disappointing. The results are obviously not good, and that's why people are more and more looking for how can we organize a movement that can change society, and what a different model of society could look like. What does it mean to be a socialist? What are socialist ideas? What does a socialist society look like? So I think that's the backdrop of today's discussions. As Andrej said, Socialist Alternative, the International Socialist Organization, Democratic Socialists of America, as well as the student groups, YDS and Social Students, came together to organize this discussion because we, I think, all feel it is both a time of huge opportunity but also a time of tremendous responsibility to rebuild a powerful socialist movement, a powerful socialist backbone to the wider anti-Trump movement. So the two sessions today, just to kind of introduce the agenda. First, we're going to have a very distinguished panel of speakers talk about making Seattle a center of resistance in the Trump era. And I think all across the country, activists, organizers, really around the world, are more and more looking to Seattle since the victories of the Fight for 15, since this whole series of other struggles where we've been at the forefront of the fight back against billionaires and now the Trump administration. Yes. And all our speakers today have been a part of building that legacy, as I know many of you in this room have as well. So this is going to be more of we're calling it a panel, but it's more of a rally. We won't have time for discussion in this first session. It'll be hearing from the speakers, getting their perspective. We'll have a quick lunch break, and we're going to try and keep that to just 25 minutes. There'll be pizza and water outside, and you can whip through the line and come back, because we want to get this done on time in order to, some of us are going to go to a launch rally for a very important mayoral candidate this afternoon. So we really want to keep the program tight. After lunch, we'll come back and we'll hear a second panel on building the socialist movement in the Trump era, where Bhaskar Sankara, who's editor of Jacobin, prominent DSA activist, has flown out from New York to join us, as well as Philip Locker, the political spokesperson for Socialist Alternative. And that'll be a more discussion-oriented panel, and we'll get into the procedures for that. So with no further ado, I want to introduce our first speaker. Kayla Nicholson has been an organizer, a very effective organizer, a close friend with socialist students. She has led a whole number of different struggles, played a role in the Sawant's re-election campaign, as well as organizing some of the big walkouts we saw against Trump in the day after his inauguration the day after his election, as well as on the inauguration. So I think we want to really center the voices of young people in this movement who've been at the forefront. So please give a warm, warm welcome to Kayla Nicholson.